Good evening, everyone. My name is David Freese, the mayor of Tonganoxie. I'm calling to order this May 6, 2024 meeting of the Tonganoxie City Council. Ms. Huntington, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Partridge is absent. Ms. McCutcheon?
Here.
Ms. Stevens?
Here.
Mr. Donnelly?
Here.
Mr. Dale?
Here.
Would you join us in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Number 2 on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Are there any questions about the minutes from the previous meeting from April 15th? Seeing none, I would request a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 3 on that motion passes. Item 3 on the agenda is the consent agenda where we review the bill payments from the previous period. Were there any questions reviewing the bill payments, council? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve.
Thanks, Ms. Stevens. Is there a second?
Second.
I heard Ms. McCutcheon first. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Nothing under old business tonight, so we'll move on to new business unless someone signed up to speak before noon today.
I don't believe we had anyone sign up.
Okay, all right. Item 5 is new business, the police department promotion recognitions. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council members. We recently here at the police department, we've had a lot of attrition here that's kind of made upper mobility a little bit easier for some of our officers here. So in the last month, we had a very kind of competitive oral interviewing process for a bunch of our officers. We had a couple corporal spots and we had one sergeant spot that ended up becoming available because one of the corporal spots was actually filled to the sergeant. So at this point in time, I wanted to thank George and Dan and all of you for letting us have this time. So I just kind of wanted to recognize some of our officers over here. I'll start from the left. If you'd stand up, Matt. Matt Young here was one of our patrol officers, and Matt applied for the corporal position, and through, again, a competitive process, Matt did a really good job on the oral interview. He's a stellar officer and does a really good job for us on a day-by-day basis, so he was promoted to corporal. So our next guy is Bill Bayes. Bill has had 30-some-odd years on in law enforcement. He was corporal, and that's actually the spot that Matt took, is when Bill was promoted to the sergeant position. And Bill also does a really fine job for us. His wife is here, and he brought her with him, and we say hello to her, Chris, and thank her for letting us borrow him every now and then when he's on duty. So Bill does a tremendous job. And lastly, Officer Peter Gregory, I told myself I wasn't going to do that. It's 2 first names, I swap them. So Peter Gregory is not here. He had some other stuff going on at work and had worked a late shift. But he was also promoted to our corporal position. He does a fine job for us also. Just kind of on a sidebar that's completely unrelated here. This is one of our new officers, Tanner Willman. If you saw on Ops last week when George put out the operations update for the city, Tanner just recently got the Medal of Valor through the Kansas Association of Chiefs of Police, and we're really proud to have him here and really proud for the great work he did. So I'll just ask for a little bit of a round of applause for everybody, and we really appreciate your time letting us speak. Thanks.
Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Congratulations on the promotion.
Okay, moving on to item B, consider approval of 2024-2025 plan year employee group insurance coverage benefits renewal. Mr. Brakovich.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. In the agenda packets, there's a 4-page agenda statement that offers a lot of detail. I'll try to be fairly brief, but cover the points that I think would be of most interest. As a reminder, the city provides a broad spectrum of benefits for our employees, including health, dental, vision, life insurance, EAP, accidental death and dismemberment, all of those things. And so really the focus in most years is kind of on those big three, the health, dental, and vision. And so annually, we work with a group of brokers to go out and see what the market is bearing. We do reviews based on, the level of services our employees or their dependents require under the plan. We look at surveys and see what other communities are offering, and all in an attempt to provide a concise staff recommendation back to you all from a policy level perspective of what we need to do. Probably the biggest thing we've done in the last few years is for the plan year 2023 and 2024, we switched to a level funded plan where in previous years, because we were an employer of under 50 full-time employees, we were subject to a plan that premiums were based on the age of the employee being covered and then specifically the age of all the dependents listed under the plan. And we never really had a great opportunity to switch over to a level funded plan because there wasn't any sort of guarantee for renewability with those types of plans, except for the plan year 2023-2024, where Blue Cross Blue Shield offered us that opportunity to get into a level funded plan with a guarantee of renewability. So we did that, and we incurred some major cost savings, double-digit percentage cost savings by switching from that age-based plan. So now that we've been in the level funded plan, we're guaranteed to renew, but they've taken a look at our claims that are filed, plus any administrative changes, cost changes on their side to administer the plan. And so there is a double-digit increase proposed to keep the 4 plans that we offer. However, even with that increase, the premiums that are projected for the 2024-2025 plan year are still 5% lower than they were in 2022 and 2023 when we were still under that age-based program. So there is a budget impact in that regard. We are able to absorb that without any significant changes. I think what we hear overwhelmingly for our employees is they like the 4 different plans to choose from. And again, here, if there's an increase to an employee that they're not comfortable with, they always have that opportunity to switch to a different plan that may offer a lower premium to them on a monthly or biweekly basis. So that's the health care coverage, and that's the most significant change. Dental is a nominal, I think about 2-3% increase. Vision stayed flat, as did the city-provided life insurance policy. So we were pleased to see that minimal amount of movement. And again, healthcare is such an important component, and Dan Porter does a great job and takes a lot of pride in ensuring that our employees have good plans to choose from. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any other specific questions you might have, or just any questions in general.
Questions, council? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to authorize approval of level-funded Quad 2 group health insurance coverage with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas, renewal of group dental insurance coverage with Delta Dental of Kansas, renewal of group vision insurance coverage with MetLife, and renewal of basic life insurance coverage and associated benefits with Mutual of Omaha for the 2024-25 plan year, which will commence on July 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Dale.
I'll second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item C is consider recommended Tonganoxie Water Park user fee and rental fee changes. Mr. Brajkovic?
Yes, thanks again, Mayor. And just a quick thank you back to the City Council on that previous item. We appreciate your work from a policy level to ensure that employees continue to get great health care coverage. Item C, as the mayor said, is water park user fees. Darren is here tonight, our pool manager, in case you have any specific questions. Just a few recommended changes. It's kind of a carryover on some items from some more significant changes we made last year. I guess I'll start with the easier one is like, well, what are we proposing no changes? So there's no fee changes for residents, no changes in swim lessons. And so the focus is primarily on what we're charging to non-residents, and to keep it real simple, it's just $1 more than it was last year. And then there's a fee change for facility rentals. We used to bifurcate that based on the anticipated crowd size, and that helped Darren with how many lifeguards need to be staffed. And to kind of, again, keep it real simple, it was less than 75 or more than 75, and then there's a cost difference, right? So you can imagine most people said, oh, we'll have less than 75, and then 76 or 80 or 100 people show up, and then we have to emergency staff that, and it wasn't an equitable way to do it. And so just kind of keeping a flat fee for the facility rental allows Darren to adequately staff that, and we'll monitor numbers from that regard, just knowing what the maximum occupancy would be. The only other change that I mentioned as a carryover was on the annual passes. We had a lot of questions about what the family pass meant, or how many people can you have on the family, is extended family included. So Darren suggested adding one that was a maximum amount of folks to have on. And so that is in the fee structure or the fee schedule that was included. The matrix is right after the agenda statement on this item, and I believe it's highlighted in green to make the changes easier to track. So Darren, I think I hit them all, right? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, just it's a group. I think last year they changed it from family to group.
Okay.
And that's kind of what we're sticking with again this year.
Okay.
George,
Yes.
I'll just point out, unless I'm reading this wrong, you're also increasing the resident group season pass rate from 150 to 180, is that right?
Is that the max group rate, Darren? I need to pull that up.
That's a 20% jump, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
While George is looking that up, Mr. Shoup, do you have anything you'd care to add to this?
No, I think Mr. Porter and I, when we sat down, we discussed this with expenses and just how it went last year and the previous years. I felt like when we sat down, these were very reasonable proposals moving forward for this season.
Did you find it, George?
Yes, it did. Mr. Partridge was correct. It went from for resident 150 to 180.
Okay.
So
Okay. Council, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. What, for Darren, what is roughly the percentage of people, residents that use the facility using a daily admission versus that season pass?
You're testing my memory here.
Sorry, it doesn't have to be specific, rough number will do.
Yeah, I would say probably 60% season passes, the other 40 maybe is individual daily passes probably. Again, that's data that I give out at the end of the season every year. We kind of get that data and we share it with the city on kind of that breakup of percentages. So, but we do have a good chunk of members, especially with the group passes, because it doesn't necessarily have to be relative to be on that group pass.
So,
Benefit for a lot of those folks previous years who were doing separate family passes, but now they can just do one group pass and save a lot of money that way.
right, I think I started last year, yeah. Oh, that's my only concern is, I feel like a 20% increase on the residents just for the group pass is a bit high. When we're keeping everything else relatively the same, I feel like, I love all the other changes, especially on the rental rates. I feel like are one of the best values in town for birthday parties and stuff like that. And I think, I know it's only $30, so I'm not gonna hold it up or anything, but I do feel like, especially if you have a large family, because each additional member's gone from 25 to 35, if we're gonna have some sticker shock on when we start selling these passes to families that use the facility a lot and have taken advantage of that. And just wonder if we could maybe think about lowering that a little bit, but again, it's not enough that I'm gonna stand in anybody's way on it, so. That's my thoughts.
Do you have an offer?
Do I have an, I'm not the expert, but again, just for somebody who, I can tell you, I think that there's gonna be there's gonna be some surprise there, especially if you got a family of 6 or 7 who've kind of known what the price will be. You know, let's say you have 1 extra or 2 extra, that's gonna be $40, $50 more than you had to pay last year. That's not gonna be insignificant. That will be felt by some of our people. If I trust our staff, if this is what we need to do to keep things financially responsible, then I think that's fair. But also at the same time, we know we're never going to make money on the pool. You know, how much do we make in gates on these season tickets in a year? Is what it's in the 5 figures. I know that, but it's not going to be a lot of money one way or the other. If I was the king of the world, I might split the difference on it and say 165, so you're going a 10% increase instead of 20, but I don't have the numbers, so I don't want to make a big deal about it.
No, Mr. Partridge, I think it's a fair point to call that out as a cost increase. If you look, though, at the level that season passes are staying at for like children, adult, and seniors for single passes, let's just say if you wanted to buy 1 child season pass and 1 adult season pass, you're at $140 for 2. And for an additional $40, you can add, 3 more people?
But are you really seeing that happen in reality down there? Because I know when I was talking last year, there wasn't a significant change in how people were buying those passes. Families were still getting family passes, and individuals weren't finding other individuals to co-op and save a few bucks. They're still buying the passes that make sense for them to do so.
Yeah, no, I think there was a level of confusion because, again, not everyone defines family the same way. And so that created issues at the gate or selling passes. And so we felt going to a group and just saying there's a maximum of 5 members in that group. But we do offer as a additional item, you can add additional group members to that group pass for a fee, so if you needed to build it up. So I guess I would suggest that although it does represent a cost increase year to year on that particular pass type, it's just an attempt to better align it with the other pass costs. And again, it's still, for 5 people, it's still a significant savings over the individual passes if you were to add them up.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious along the same lines, Darren, if you happen to have any feelers on the resident passes versus non-resident passes. Do we sell many group non-resident passes?
Majority of it's gonna be residential, yeah. Every now and then we'll get non-residents. Even with a resident pass, the primary person could live in town, but the rest of them could be non-resident. So there's no way of justifying
Sure.
that outside of the person who paid for the pass, they could put non-resident on there too. So I think Mr. Porter also looked around various different water parks as well, swimming pools, and that's when he looked at this and did some, not only was ever shared that with what other pools are charging, that was part of it.
Yeah.
We sit down
did.
looking at these fee changes to kind of keep up with other swimming pools and water parks that are there.
Is that it, Mr. Dale?
I have just one question that's not related to the population or the fee, but it is how are we holding up, George, or on equipment? Is it holding up okay? We don't have any big issues coming up? And
We've got, we've, in the last 3 years, we've spent a significant amount, last 4 years, of capital improvement dollars at the facility, painting the pool, painting the structures. We do a pre-season and post-season walk through an audit with the pool manager. This year, we've also contracted just last week with a pool company from Kansas City to come in and do an independent audit, walk through and tiering any major equipment purchases, but we're doing okay. There's nothing significant other than the painting seems to be the most recurring item. Facilities, walls, things like that, we do in-house. It is approaching 14 years old now. And so there's just some interior stuff, carpet changes, some pretty minor things that we'll handle this year.
My question was along if we were talking about these rate changes or adjustments, and if we're gonna see a budget item of 50,000, that may be one thing. If we're not, if you don't anticipate any budget items, major, that's out of the norm this cycle.
Not this year, but next year, the pool will need to be repainted, and that'll be a big ticket item, yeah.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you.
Anyone else? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that we approve the recommended Tonganoxie Water Park user fees and rental fee changes effective May 6th, 2024. I guess that is today.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Ms. McCutcheon. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
I'm sorry, did you vote?
I
no?
voted nay, yes. Sorry, as I think about it, and I know we're done with discussion, I just feel like 3 weeks before the season opens, I think it's just, we probably should have done this a little earlier and maybe a little differently.
I understand. Thank you. Motion carries. Okay. Moving on to the city manager agenda, Mr. Brakovich.
No further items, Mayor, thank you.
Ms. Kershalich, anything for the,
No items other than what we'll be discussing shortly.
okay. Mayor Pro Tem agenda, Ms. Stevens?
Nothing this week. Thank you, Mayor.
City Council, anybody have anything to add? Okay, I have some reappointments for 2 positions for the Tonganoxie Library Board, but looking at the packet, it looks like there's 3. Is that
There is 3 reappointments,
There are
yes.
3,
Sorry about
okay.
that, Mayor.
That's okay. So I would like to reappoint Jennifer Cole, Emily Arnold, and Dana Splichel to the Library Board. All in favor of that, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. We have one appointment to the Rec Commission. Mr. Mark Welsh. I'd like to appoint him to the Rec Board. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have some executive sessions. We'll start with this one. Ms. Stevens, the time is at the top.
I move that the city council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice regarding communications with the county about a recent annexation pursuant to the attorney-client privilege consultation exception in KSA 75-43119B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, the city manager, and the assistant city manager. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber in 15 minutes, which would be 7, let's see,
40.
We could just do 7:40 to make it
7:40.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Executive
Here, have Jenny or Matt read the next one.
Yes, ma'am. And Matt, will
I
you read?
can't do math in my head one.
5 minutes, really?
It's a quick one.
That's
All
what
right.
George said. We're back in regular session. Let the record show that no binding action was taken in the executive session. Mr. Partridge?
I move that the city council reassess into executive session to obtain legal advice regarding communications with Unilock Chicago, Inc. pertaining to the real estate contract of sale between city and Unilock pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception KSA 75-4319B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, city manager, and assistant city manager. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber at 7:48 PM.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're in executive session. We're back in regular session. Let the record show that no binding action was taken in the executive session. We have one more executive session. Ms. McCutcheon,
I move that the city council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice regarding litigation matters involving the city pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception in KSA 75-4319B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, city manager, and assistant city manager. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber at 7:56.
thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
It's time
opposed?
to walk.
We're in executive session.
I'm worried about George and Anna having to draw.
We're back in open session. Let the record show that no binding action was taken during executive session. I have one more thing on the mayor's agenda. A gentleman called me and told me he slipped and fell in some mud on our concrete path that goes out to the banks under the bridge there by Feral Gas. And I called Kent, and he and another person cleaned off that sidewalk within an hour, and I think it was Kent's afternoon off to get it clean. So I really appreciate Public Works and all that they do, and just another example of how good they are to us. Nothing more. Mr. Dale?
I make a motion that we all stay weather aware and adjourn.
Second?
Second.